Hello and welcome to Movie Town. My name's Charlie. This is my first YouTube video on my brand new channel. This channel's all about reviewing movies, ranking movies, talking about TV series, TV shows, the awards season that's coming up, all that kind of stuff. So if you like any of that kind of stuff and you like the content and you like the video and you think it's not too bad and that I'm alright, then feel free to give me a subscribe or like the video, leave a comment, tell me what you like. I'm going to be on TikTok and Instagram doing all that kind of stuff. I'm just doing this because I love talking about movies and TV shows, and I want somewhere to put it. Don't feel obliged to subscribe or anything, but just try and enjoy the content. So as you can see, the set's a bit basic, it's a bit of a work in progress, but here are all of the DVDs that I've, well, not all of them, I've got a lot more, but some of the DVDs that I've collected. You'll see rankings on them. You might not be able to actually see that, but they all have rankings on them and ratings and stuff like that. Something you'll come to see with me. I love rating movies. I have a rating system. If you guys would like me to explain that in future videos, then let me know in the comments and I'll do a video explaining my rating system, all that kind of stuff. I've got tens and near 100 different video ideas, so there'll be loads of content coming, hoping to upload twice a week. So fingers crossed I'll be able to do that. I think I should. So today, for my first ever video, I thought I'd start off with something easy, something that I can talk about easily and that I'm passionate about, knowledgeable about, and that is Netflix. Now, we've pretty much all got a Netflix account, I would imagine. Today I'm going to be talking about my favourite series on Netflix, or series that I would recommend to you guys to watch. Now, I'm not going to include obvious ones. You've got stuff like Breaking Bad on there, Better Call Saul. You've got Stranger Things, Cobra Kai, all that kind of stuff you've probably already watched. There's no point me telling you about it. So today I'm going to try and tell you about a few series that you might not have watched or you might not have heard of. So the first one I want to talk about is a TV show called Ozark. Now Ozark is I'd say a crime thriller starring Jason Bateman. He actually, I think, directs a lot of the episodes in it. I think he was a big part in creating the show as well. I know he has a hand in the writing process as well. The show is a quite gritty crime show about money laundering. Jason Bateman plays a guy who is very good at that, but he does get into a bit of trouble and he has to move his family out into the Ozarks, which is a community where in America where people go for spring break and that kind of stuff, but it's full of like lakes and swamps and that kind of stuff, and it's a great location. And he basically goes there to be an angel investor in businesses. So he'll come in and say, I'm going to take your business up a few levels, and then he can launder money through the businesses. It's very interesting. There's some amazing characters and the acting is impeccable. And if you like a show with great writing and acting and the sort of critical side of things, Ozark is great, but it also is a show with a lot of twists and turns. The characters aren't necessarily likeable or dislikable, and that's something I like. You see that in shows like Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, them kind of shows where the main character or the main characters aren't necessarily people that you root for. It might be a supporting character, but eventually you have to choose the character that you want to go through the narrative with, the character that you're rooting for. Ozark's great for that because there's loads of different perspectives where you can root for, that you can follow the story from. All of the seasons are great. The final season, I wasn't a massive fan of the second half of the final season, but more through, as I say, it's a very subjective show, and depending on who you want to come out well and who you want to win and who you don't want to win, then that's all subjective, I guess. But there's some incredible storylines in it, and some incredible pieces of acting. So Ozark is one I definitely recommend. It's a heavy watch. It's not a kid family friendly show. But definitely worth watching if you like the sort of highbrow, high caliber writing of TV shows. My second recommendation is along similar lines, but not too similar. Basically anything that Harlan Coben has made on Netflix. Now Harlan Coben is a writer and they do sort of, I'd say, crime stories. You know, but like modern day stuff. There's loads of different Harlan Coben things that I like. You know, The Stranger, Stay Close, All the Safe, all that kind of stuff. There's a new one with Michelle Keegan out as well. But basically anything with Harlan Coben's name attached to it is a great watch because it's a closed off almost mini series. Each series, there's usually about 6 to 8 episodes I think in each season, usually following a story about a mystery in modern day. Most of the series are set in modern day England, following people trying to figure out if someone's passed away and the murder, and the police are involved, and then there's some sort of mystery going on in a family or someone's past or whatever. Basically, if you like twists and turns, it's great to watch. Again, unlike Ozark, I'd say it's probably not as highbrow. It's not as, I wouldn't say it would be as critically acclaimed as Ozark, but Ozark's like top of the top. And Harlan Coben's series are a bit hit and miss for me. Some I really like, some I don't like so much. But if you like that kind of stuff, just stick it on, get invested in the characters. They pull in some amazing actors. Eddie Izzard, for example, I forgot which one exactly he was in, but he's fantastic in the one that I watched him in. I think it was Stay Closer, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, and recently they've got Michelle Keegan in, so pulling in some really good actors and actresses. So that's one I definitely recommend if you're someone that says, oh, I like things with twists and turns and mysteries throughout. Definitely anything, literally anything with Harlan Coben's name attached to it. So the next one that I want to recommend is, I'd say for the romance fans out there, but it's slightly different. When I first got with my girlfriend, she said that she was a massive fan of this show called Heartstopper. Now, I'd never heard of Heartstopper. She said it was like a romance, sort of like TV show. It's been adapted from books. I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. And then I found out that it was actually about two gay or part of the LGBTQ community kids in school and them falling in love and stuff. And to be honest with you, I never really watched anything like that. I've never really been into anything like that, so I was okay, fine, I'll give it a go. The fantastic thing about it is the show isn't necessarily, you don't have to be gay to watch the show and to be invested in these characters. Most of the characters, if not all of the characters, are experiencing some sort of experimentation within that community, and the show isn't necessarily showing them as victims or stereotypes or anything like that you get in a lot of mainstream media. They're actually just showing them as teenagers, and they're flawed, and they can be annoying, they can be stubborn and vain and arrogant, but they can also be so cute and kind and loving. Standout of the show is probably Nick Nelson, who's played by Kit Connor. It's a breakout role for him. I think he's fantastic in it. Same with the Joe Locke, the other main actor in it. You've also got people like Olivia Colman making little appearances throughout as Nick's mum. The feel of the show is so innocent, and it will take you back to when you were a teenager and the innocence of being a teenager and not being exposed to the harshness of the world. And that does come in through the series. There's been 2 seasons so far. I'd say the first season anyone can watch. Second season, they go a little bit more adult, but I'd say probably around about the 12 mark, so everyone can watch it. And as I say, as a straight guy, I watched it, I was so invested, I thought the characters were fantastic, and I'm so glad that my girlfriend recommended it to me, because it wouldn't have been something that I would have watched otherwise. But as far as romances go, it's great. I don't really have any faults with it. I just think it's an easy watch. It's not that long. The first and second season, you can binge them within probably 2 or 3 nights. I think we binged the second season in 1 night, I'm pretty sure. So I definitely recommend Heartstopper for anyone that is into romance or like teenage romance. It's very, very happy and fun. So the next thing I'm going to recommend is a show called Schitt's Creek. Now, I'm not sure if people have watched this or not, but I know that it's popular, but no one ever talks about it. I never hear anyone talk about Schitt's Creek in terms of comedies on Netflix. Now, you hear about Always Sunny in Philadelphia, for the Americans, for us Brits. We love, on Netflix specifically, stuff like Peep Show and that kind of thing, but I never hear anyone talk about Schitt's Creek as a great sitcom. Now, the show is created by Dan and Eugene Levy, I'm pretty sure, who actually play father and son in the show. Dan Levy is a fantastic writer, same with Eugene. And the show basically centers around a family that are rich as anything, successful as anything, basically celebrities who have their whole fortune taken away from them. They lose all their fortune, and the only thing they have left is a town that they brought for their son as a joke called Schitt's Creek. It turns out the town is real, and now they actually own it. It's the only asset that can't be taken off them. So then they go to live in this town called Schitt's Creek, hence the name of the show. And they have to deal with starting from the bottom again and figuring out not only how do they get to the top again, but do they want to go to the top again? And actually, is there happiness to be found in a simpler life? Moira, the wife, is amazing. Catherine O'Hara, I think her name is. She's incredible. She's so funny, so funny. Same with all the other family, Alexis, and then obviously Dan and Eugene Levy. They're all all their dynamics work so well. And it's great when you see a family on screen where any two combination of any characters never feels weird. That's when you know that you've written a fantastic family and a great family dynamic. You've got amazing supporting characters. Stevie, who works in the motel. You've got the Ronald, I think, isn't that Roland? That's it, Roland. He's the mayor, and he's just a mess. And you've got so many fantastic supporting characters. Bob as well, who does a funny run. I'll try and see if I can insert a clip here. So yeah, I just think it's such a funny show. It's such a happy show. There's, I think, 4 or 5 seasons. Dan Levy, I keep forgetting his character name, but Dan Levy, the son, has an incredible storyline where he meets someone. I'm not going to spoil it, but their romance is so fantastically written and so natural and so heartfelt, especially towards the end of the season as it starts to to build up and climax at the very end, and you see what happens with these characters. It's so good, and really the series is all about character growth. If you like that kind of thing, where you see characters that are flawed in the beginning and then at the end they're changed for whatever reason, this is the show for you, because these characters go on this incredible arc, and it's not done quickly. It takes them a long time, very slowly, especially Moira, the mum, who is a massive drama queen, and she loves attention and these preposterous outfits, and she really, out of all of them, wants to get out of here the most, and she misses the high life the most. To see her change and to see her develop is amazing, because none of them change as people, they just change their perspective, which changes them as characters and how you see them. And I like that they always stay true to who they are, from the beginning to the end. They're still the same people, but their perspective on life and their arrogance and what have you, that changes as you go, so they become more likeable. And I just don't want to give away too much, but it's such a funny show. I'd highly recommend to watch. Watch it with your mum or dad, or with your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. It's something easy to watch as well. It's not too intense. Yes, there is ongoing storylines throughout the series, but you can stick on your favourite episodes and that kind of thing. So my second to last recommendation is one I might get some stick for, but it's Shameless, but the US version. Now, don't shoot me. I like the UK version. I think it's great for its time, but watching it back now, it can be very jarring, because it almost feels like a soap opera, like an old season of EastEnders or Coronation Street or something like that. Whereas with the US Shameless, the first season, I'd say, has specific beats, and the characters are the same. They have the same name and all that kind of stuff. But as the seasons progress, these characters become so developed, and very rarely will you see such developed characters age on screen as they do. I think the series in universe is like maybe 9 years or 10 years from season 1 to the last season. In real life, I think it was more like 12 or 13 years. So you really see these characters age and develop and get older and mature. The standout for me in the show has to be Lip Gallagher. I mean, probably one of my favourite characters on TV. I think what he goes through in his life and how he comes out the other side of things, and He's not a perfect character, he's incredibly flawed. The acting from Jeremy Allen White is incredible. He's by far the standout of the show to me. But again, Fiona Gallagher, Frank Gallagher, you know, their performances are so good, and how they show these characters that are a product of their environment. I didn't even explain the concepts of this show. Basically, for Shameless, anyone that hasn't watched the UK version, Shameless is about a family. The dad is a awful, drunk, absent, alcoholic father, and their mother is bipolar and not handled very well, and she abandons them regularly and isn't seen actually throughout most of the show. She actually isn't in the show because she keeps leaving. And basically Fiona Gallagher, the oldest one, who I think is 19 at the beginning of the show, or 20, 21, that kind of age, she has to look after her siblings. I think there's 5 of them, or 6, I don't even know. There's a lot of them, and she has to look after them, and they grow up in a very rough neighbourhood in Chicago on the south side. So you see these characters and where they come from and the area they come from, and you see what impact that has on their character and who they are. And there seems to be a theme running through the whole show of, am I just destined for this life because of the environment I've been brought up in? You know, am I going to end up like my mum? Am I going to end up like my dad? That's something that resonates with me. That's a theme that I've had throughout my life, and an anxiety that I know many of us share. Are we just going to end up like our father or mother, or are we going to end up being a product of our environment, not necessarily even through bad parenting or whatever, but just through the environment and the area that we grew up in? And that's something that's challenged in this show, but the way I'm describing it makes it sound like a drama. It's not, it's a comedy. And there's so many ridiculous things that happen in this show. What comes to mind is a gas explosion that blows up a house. But it's played for laughs. There's multiple murders throughout the show that are played for laughs. Characters get murdered or die or whatever, and you know, it's not something that is always serious, but there is incredibly serious moments. A few deaths in and around the family, and certain characters and hardships they go through are very, very moving. Very emotional, and as I would say, Lip is a massive standout. If you just want to watch the show for Lip, watch the show for Lip. Skip all the other bits, because he's probably in my top 5 characters in TV history. He's that good, seriously. So Shameless US, definitely watch. And if you want to watch the UK one, watch the UK one. But they're very different shows. I think it's a rare occasion of the US actually doing something better than the UK, taking source material and improving on it. The later seasons gets a bit rough. I usually stop watching around like 2 seasons before the end. You'll know when to stop watching it, because Fiona isn't in the show anymore. She's not in the show for the last little bit. So when Fiona leaves, just probably stop watching. But if you want to watch all the way, you can watch all the way. But yeah, Shameless US, would highly recommend it. It's very, very funny, but don't watch it with your family, because there's a lot of nudity, a lot of sex, a lot of drugs. I think it's an 18, I'm not sure. So definitely not a family friendly one, but it's a great watch. And finally, my last recommendation, if you've got TikTok or Instagram or anything like that, you would have seen a million edits of this show. But the show I'm going to be recommending to you as my last show today is The End of the Fucking World. Which was basically a mini-series from around, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I remember seeing a trailer for this show. I think it was Channel 4 made, maybe season 1 was Channel 4, season 2 was Netflix, or they were both Channel 4, but they were distributed on Netflix. I remember seeing a trailer thinking, this is right up my street. It gave me vibes of like the film Submarine, you know, that kind of, I'm a bit of a weirdo, bit serial killery, teenager, and I don't really fit in and I don't know what to do, and then finding a person that's similar to you but still different and can complement you. And the show is pushing boundaries massively with the content in it. These two are our children. I think they're both 16. I think they're meant to be 16. So the the things they get up to is pushing boundaries a little bit. However, their chemistry is unbelievable. The premise of the show is we follow a kid called James who basically believes that he's destined to be a serial killer, which is a strong opening. He picks his first victim to be a girl called Alyssa, who is moody, grumpy, fed up with her family and her life and the town that they live in, and wants to go on an adventure. So he decides to go on this adventure with her with the ultimate aim of killing her. So throughout the series, you're constantly waiting for this thing to happen, which I won't spoil if it does or doesn't. But the chemistry between the two is amazing because they complement each other so well. Alyssa is deeply fearful of showing an emotional side. She holds a lot in because her home life is not great. She has an awful stepfather and a baby that takes away all the attention from her, and her mum really doesn't show any affection towards her. So she comes from a bad background, but then so does James. He only has his dad. His mum died, and I won't say how, but you will see in the show, and it's very tragic, something that I can relate to with James. And I think that they complement each other so well because they bring out the best in each other. They make each other feel comfortable, and they bring out a side to each other that you don't see in the beginning of the show. Season 2 takes that to a whole nother level. The music and the cinematography in this show is amazing. And especially in season 2, I don't know, maybe someone out there's probably done a word count of the words in season 1 spoken and the words in season 2, but the last few episodes of season 2, the silence is so impressive. And when a director or a writer decides to use silence rather than words, you know that they trust the actors that they're working with, and to right, because the actors who play these two characters are incredible, and as I've said, their chemistry is incredible and it carries the show. And at the end of season 2, the moments of reflection that they have, the looks that they give each other, no words need to be spoken, and the silence is so deafening in the final few episodes. It's a near perfect piece of television. It's got great comedic aspects, and every single actor has impeccable comedic timing. The dramatic performances in the show are out of this world, some of the best I've ever seen. And also the soundtrack is fantastic. It's got so many weird songs that you would have never heard of before, but you'll add straight away to your Spotify playlist. So The End of the Fucking World is definitely something I recommend. Similar to Heartstopper in the sense that it's very short form and you can binge it very easily. The first season I think is about 2.5, 3 hours in total. So it's almost like watching a movie, and the same with the second series. So definitely stick that on tonight if you want something to watch. It's emotional, but it's so funny. So they are my top Netflix recommendations for you guys to watch. Just before we end, I'm going to pick out a random film from my collection, and this will be my recommendation for you guys to watch. So I'm going to go here. There you go, Little Miss Sunshine. That's the film you guys need to watch. I gave it an 8.4 out of 10, so I obviously like it. So Little Miss Sunshine is the film to watch for this video. Let me know what you guys think about the film in the comments, and if you have already watched it, then let me know in the comments what you thought of it and give me your ratings out of 10. Thank you very much for watching my first ever video. There's lots more to come. Loads of movie reviews, rankings, recommendation videos like this. I've got a few good ideas coming up soon, so if you want to see content, hit the subscribe button, make sure your notifications are turned on for any future videos. Give it a like if you like the video and you like the idea, but I will see you next time, guys. Thank you, bye.